Welcome to Toffee TV. You've all been looking forward to this. It's the season review, or the start of a series of videos regarding the season that we've just had. One of the longest seasons ever. It's mad.
Well, it actually is one of the longest seasons ever. Started in July, so yeah.
It feels like
competitively.
It feels like such a long time ago since we played that friendly in Africa.
And we were all excited.
We were all dead excited.
Rooney smashed one in from 25 yards, and we were like, and Dowell. We were like, Dowell's going to be important this season.
Amazing.
He was quickly gone. Yeah. And he was left-footed, and he was out the door.
Yeah.
I wonder if he could have played left back for a bit.
Yeah, maybe
Left
could have.
back.
Would have been better than someone else. Where did it all go wrong, Baz? Where did it all go wrong this season, do you think?
I think the planning of it at the start, I think we were all... It started off okay. We needed a goalkeeper. We went and got one of the brightest young goalies around, and that was great. And we got Ajax as captain, and we were excited with him. And I suppose just having money. We just finished the season 7th. Obviously, there was the Romelu Lukaku stuff. You know, we knew he was likely to move on, so we were looking what strikers coming in, and we had the Dembele bollocks of being a Finch Farm, and it was Nathan Markello and stuff like that. You know, but we were all thinking there'll be a centre forward in any day now, and that's the pieces. Koeman knows what he wants. We've got this director of football. He was getting off to Italy, appearing with Mafia and going into these clubs, apparently finding out who was available and being offered 8 or 9 different players, and we just seemed to collect players without really thinking about it, didn't we?
Well, ultimately, yes.
That's what it. You know, that's
at the time when you're in the eye of the storm, you don't really know, because you don't know how these things are going to get put together. You want them to be put together, and you don't know what the complete jigsaw is going to be until it's time to play, or the window shuts or whatever. And
I mean, we had a hard set of fixtures as well.
Well, we did, but we did, and that's okay, and you understand that, but it just didn't. I don't know. We obviously, we went into the season. We made a couple of signings. We bought Pickford in, we bought Klassen in, and we bought Rooney in, and we went into the friendly. What did we only had? Did we have only 3?
Played in Africa, we had 2 in.
So we played the 3 friendlies. Then we played Africa. Then we played in Holland. Then we played in Belgium, and then we went into the first game against Rosenberg. And obviously the game against Rosenberg was difficult. Arthur Goodison was shut. They'd already started their season. They were 3 or 4 weeks into their season, and they were looked a lot fitter. We looked miles off it, but we managed to get a 1-0 win, which was just enough, and we went over there and got a 1-0 win. There was moments, moments that were looked a little bit dodgy, but we got through it, and you were thinking, okay, we got through it. And again, like Keane come in, obviously Sigurdsson was a long drawn out thing that didn't come. He didn't come in till after the season started. Obviously we brought Cuco Martina in, and Vlasic later on, and as you said, the beginning of the season wasn't easy because we were juggling those European games with the start of the season. That week where we played Man City on the Monday, split away on the Thursday, and then Chelsea on the Sunday. We put ourselves in difficult positions. We should never have played City on a Monday night. We should have played that on the Sunday. Obviously we had split the week on the Thursday, so it had to be. Should have played that on the Sunday, just to give us an extra day. And then we went into then I think it was the international weekend then, and we were sort of okay with the start. It wasn't great, but obviously the caveat was that's when the window shut, and we hadn't brought in a striker, obviously, You know, you've just lost one of your best players. You've just, well, if one of your most important players you've just lost, and we never replaced them. But on top of that, Ross Barkley, which it doesn't get spoken about enough, really.
No.
Ross Barkley nearly went on transfer deadline day.
He'd already been injured.
He already had that injury, which we knew he was going to be out till Christmas anyway. So, regardless of whether he was staying or going,
we didn't have him.
We didn't have Ross and Ron, who the season before were two of our most important players. Okay, in Sigurdsson we sort of replaced Ross, although they're not really the same kind of players. Don't really do the same things. But we're not getting a replacement for Romelu Lukaku is, you know, Steve Walsh and Ronald Koeman. That is their biggest crime for me at Everton Football Club, because you can talk about styles, you can talk about, you know, all the other things that go around, but if you lose a striker and get you 25 goals in the season and do not replace him with anybody, like, you know, even if you say, right, we're buying two strikers and I think one will get us 15 and one will get us 10, let's just say, for argument's sake, but to not replace them whatsoever. Yes, we bought Sandro in, but an untried kid from Spain who maybe, you know, with a little bit more toughening up and under the right circumstances could get you that 10 to 15 goals. But to not go out and get a striker who is a ready-made Premier League striker to come into your side, who can bang in 15 goals straight off the back, you know, without having any worries, that is the biggest crime.
Yeah, I mean, he put all his eggs in the Giroud basket, didn't he? And Giroud would have been that man. He'd have got 18 to 20 goals because he gets it every year. Even scored about 8 at Chelsea already. But like I said at the time, we should have got one in, and Giroud should have been the second one. If it was dragging on, everything should have had an ultimatum. Everything. And this is the thing, you know. And you'd even heard Sam Allardyce saying this, talking about players in his in his defence. Like he said, you give players a time frame, otherwise you're sitting around waiting and then it falls apart. You've got to go, we need to move on from this now. Giroud should have been given that time frame, and then it should have been like, we move on from it. You know, Koeman still believed we'd get him in the last week. Well, alright, go and get someone else then. Go and get Dembele at Celtic. You know, I'm not saying he would have been amazing, but he's big, he's quick. You need something which mirrored Ron. Alright, you mightn't have been able to recreate those goals that Lukaku got, but he was a focal point, he was an outball. We went into the season, we obviously had Wayne, but Wayne comes too deep to play up there. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a kid, should never have had that. I know you rave about his performance at City, but it's still a lot to expect from the young lad. Sandro, unproven, like you said. So you've taken someone who can do the job and do it very well and replaced them with a novice who's learning his trade almost, and it's like, why have we not come, you know, resulting in deadline day scraping around trying to get what I'd class as journeymen on loan. You know, just, will you come and do a job 8 o'clock on deadline day? Do you know what I mean? Instead of doing that on the Sunday, a few days before, and going, we're not getting Giroud, or we'll take you on loan, and if Giroud comes available, we'll have him as well, because we'll have two.
Not even that though. I mean, you know, having these players ready to, you know, early on in the summer, when you know you're selling Lukaku, you know you're getting 100 million or whatever for, or 90 million plus Wayne Rooney for him. Having a set of players, having a set of centre forwards that you've got an eye on and saying, I want this one if we don't get that one. You know, we spoke many times. Dzeko, for me, would have been a perfect player to go and get. Okay, you know, okay, he's 30 or so, but you know, if you're looking at someone like Giroud, Dzeko would be a similar kind of player. Test their hand at Roma, you know, go and say, like, we'll give you 40 million. If we're prepared to pay 45 million for Sigurdsson, then you need a centre forward that he can work with, you know. And for me, someone like Giroud obviously was the man, but Dzeko, for me, that would be a no-brainer. Someone who's played in the Premier League, someone who'd probably be eager to come back to the Premier League for the money and the money you're willing to pay him. But we just didn't seem to go down those avenues, and I just think that's got to be the biggest crime. And You know, because
and a left back.
If you've got a centre forward, if you've got a centre forward who's putting the ball in the back of the net like we've seen in the last few years, it hides a lot of sins. And Koeman sort of, this is where Koeman I think went wrong in the whole thing, is that, and I think he admitted to this point as well, is that he had a way he wanted to play and he basically threw it out the window because he was like, well, Lukaku just keeps on scoring goals. I don't need to worry about that other thing. I'd like to do this, but he just keeps on scoring goals, and that's why we couldn't win away games, just because when Lukaku couldn't be asked, or he was isolated.
We had no way.
So instead of building this thing over the first year or so, a way of playing, it was just get the ball to Lukaku and he'll score the goal. So you took Lukaku out the team, and suddenly you're asking to rebuild something from scratch, and it proved too big a task for him. And as you said, not having a left back, which was another massive crime for me. Not buying 2 centre backs, only buying 1, was, again, for me it was like a big jigsaw that he was trying to put together, but he just didn't put like the most important pieces in it, and without that it's nothing. It's flimsy. It'll just fall to bit. You know, there was nothing there to hold it together, and for me it was just, you know, it quickly showed that without the striker putting the ball in the back of the net in those games, in that early part of the season, which you said was very difficult, there was games every 3 days, he just couldn't find a way of putting it all together at a basic level either. He was chopping and changing. He was always, instead of almost saying, right, this is my first 11, I'm going to stick to this for like 6 games, get players bedded in, like Keane, like Sigurdsson, like Klassen, or not, or, you know, I'll bring Klassen in. Instead it was boom, 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 boom. It was all chopping and changing all the time, and as we've said on other shows, because he had so many players to play with, it made it more difficult for him. Whereas, you know, go back to like the Moyes era, when he didn't have the players had to bed in, and they become better because they bed in. They might have 3 or 4 games, look a bit shaky for maybe a couple of them or whatever, and then suddenly it would click. And if it didn't click, then they found themselves quickly out, like a cold drop, because it didn't work, and we can't afford to keep you, buy you out or replace you. I think it was just all over the place. But the mad thing is, first game of the season against Stoke, I mean, I know ultimately Stoke went down, but that second half, it was weird because we played well that second half. We had 2 up front and we had Rooney just behind, and we played well.
We did.
And Sandro went off about I think after an hour, 65 minutes. He was knackered. He was out on his feet. But there was something there, and you never seen it again.
No.
You never seen 2 up front again with was it Sandro and Calvert-Lewin and Rooney just behind. And Rooney was magnificent second half. Magnificent, and the goal itself was really good that game as well. But you never seen that again. Never. Now I know it's changed against Man City for obvious reasons, and we looked good that day as well. But then it just started to go like all over the place. And
well, it was like the Chelsea game away when Sandro was injured for a couple of games, and then he started them up front at Chelsea on his own, and you're like, these are physical. These are physical. No,
Chelsea. Calvert-Lewin came on,
and then Calvert-Lewin come on, and then we had chances straight away, and you're like, why didn't you just bring Sandro on with half an hour? He's been injured. You're starting him in a difficult away game on his own up front with no real, you know. There was just some mistakes that could have been avoided, and you look at it and go, you know, and it just didn't get any better. We went to Old Trafford, we had the break, we come back, Spurs come to Goodison, and that was quite even for 20 minutes till Harry Kane fluked the first goal, and then once they went 1 up, it could have been anything. You know.
But there was no, for me, as I've said, there didn't seem to be a thought process behind anything. There didn't seem to be a plan. There didn't seem to be an idea. I think that's when fans started to get a little bit worried, looking at it and going, what are we doing here? Because we just seem to be all over the place, and there's no confidence in. I don't think Koeman exhibited any confidence in anything either. He was like, we played Atalanta in our first Europa League game. We got battered, didn't we? We got battered by a very average team with a couple of good individuals, but it was like there was no plan like either for that. There was like, it was almost like we've got like last year when Mourinho was in it, with Chelsea, Man United, when they won it. Mourinho didn't really worry about losing a couple of games, so it was almost like for the first few games it was like, we'll just play squad players for the first maybe game or two, and then we'll win the games we need to win, and then we'll get through. But it was all laid on the season. It all felt like all the eggs were in one basket without going, right, listen, it's early on in the season, we're bedding new players in, we're trying to implement a new system, let's everyone just sort of stop worrying. But we'll play a system and we'll play a team, and it'll gradually get better because it'll play together and it'll play in this system. And I know it's tough now, but the fruits will come out eventually. And he never did that. It all just felt like all the eggs were in one basket. Panic. And ultimately, I think that's what got him the sack, because by the time he played, what was his last game?
Arsenal.
What was the game before that in the Europa League though?
Leon.
Was it Leon?
It was Leon, wasn't it?
It all just still felt instead of just being like, no, if we win 3 games later on in the group, which we could have, then if we win the last 3 games, one was, or we go, listen, we'll throw everything at Limassol in both games, and if we take points off Leon and Atalanta at home, we'll be all right. But it wasn't. It was all every game. It felt like everything was getting thrown into every game, and things were being chopped and changed.
But the Atalanta game away, he dropped Pickford. He gave Stecklenberg a game, and you were like, the keeper's not needed to make that change. Play him in the League Cup if you want. It's not needed at the moment. Let Pickford, who's just come into the club, get a little bit of understanding with your back four. Don't change for change's sake. And he did, and it was. I just don't think he knew what to do. Really, like you said, he had too many players probably, and he was like, I don't know what to do with it. I'm just gonna play you lot here, and that Atalanta game was terrible. It really was. It was really poor, and we were well beaten. And it was like, right, okay, we've got Thingy at home, Limassol at home, beat these, and we'll be all right. And go out in that game and never got going again, and they were terrible, and there was no pattern, and they end up scoring with 10 men in the last minute. Then Dominic Calvert-Lewin misses an absolute sitter to win it for us. And you come away going, it's another game of that, a win. Everything was just, we'd been beaten by Burnley at home, and it was just all mad. That game he played 2 up front, then it never happened again, and you're like, what are you doing? Because you had to bring Nias in, because we had no one. Nias come in and obviously scored against Sunderland and scored against Bournemouth, got 2 against Bournemouth, and even Koeman in that didn't look happy. No, it was like, I'm gutted really that he scored, rather than going, I've made him a better player.
Or even he showed me. He showed me.
Well, he could have said that we set the bar for him and he's reached it, that's why he's in. And made up for him. He's got us an important win. Hopefully he can continue to score. And it was all gritted teeth. And then he started losing it. He looked rough.
He did look rough.
Where really, for most of it, he'd looked professional. He was clean shaven. He was ready. At the end, his hair wasn't perfect. He had the stubble. When you started looking, going, he looks like he's lost a bit of control.
It was in that period though, wasn't it? Because, as I said, it was a tough run. But in that period, I think...
Know what else changed?
Go on.
When the first season, what did we say? We were made up with him. He'd come in and go, we'd win. He'd go, yeah, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't perfect. But in the second season, the first time I kind of questioned him was after United beat us 4-0. there. And in the game, we had a couple of chances.
Yeah,
we
did.
had a couple of chances at 1-0.
It was 1-0 till late.
Yeah, last 8 minutes. 1-0 with 8 minutes to go. We were still well in the game. And after the game, someone said, you know, what you need to do, you know, you're chasing the top four, which is what he'd said, but that, and he was like,
yeah,
we had no chance of the top four this season, don't even know why he's saying it. And they were like, well, you said it last year. And he was like, we had no chance, you know, we're trying to get in the top 7, top 6. And you were like, you'd said the plan many a time. You even said that in March we'll get better players and we're going to try and come, you know, we're going to battle for the top 4, whether we get there or not's a different thing. And it was like the narrative had almost changed from him, as if it was like, I don't know what we can do. Instead of going, I'm confident, it's like the 4th game, 5th game, we can still be in the race for the top 4, don't worry about it. Last season we were terrible in the first part of the season, and then when we got to April, we were 1 point behind the team. We were 4 points behind the team. We were 4th, so we could have quite easily. So that's all he had to say, and he didn't. He just dismissed it, and then you start going, well, you.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You're right. The expectations suddenly dropped. You know what? For me, I mean, we all had high expectations because of the summer. We brought in players, but we brought in good players, and a lot of them are, you know, Premier League players as well. So you expected them to adapt. They didn't all adapt. You know, like Pickford did, and Keane obviously he started okay. We thought the defence was going to be fine, and then there was a lot of chopping and changing. We were still waiting for Seamus Coleman to come back. There was a lot of chopping and changing at right back. We started with Holgate, then we had Martina and John Joe Kenny. Left back, when Baines went out in what was it, November, suddenly Cuco Martina comes in at left back, and that was a massive problem. It became a massive problem. But almost like those games are almost like, you would think, well, is your chance with yes, we know it's difficult, but is your chance with lower expectations to say, I'm setting us out how to play, and we've got a lot of games, and we're just going to play through them, and we're going to have almost like, not saying we're going to have a first team for the Premier League and a first team for the Europa League, but it was just, there was no rhyme or reason. It just kept on changing all the time, and as you said, you know, we play 2 up front, and then or with 1 behind, and we played 1 up front, and he just kept on trying instead of trusting a system. And I think this comes from not knowing, because he had the season before, he'd had Lukaku and Ross Barkley essentially running the show for us. He suddenly just, Gareth Barry went out the door as well. He'd lost that kind of player who he could trust. Snarden started the season really poorly, which didn't help as well. And it was like, oh my God, it was all these things happening at once, and there was injuries as well. And it was, in his defence, it was a really bad start. He had new players to integrate, but underneath it, if you have a plan and you have a structure, and you can use that framework for everything to fall into, you've got something. But because he didn't have that, I just think, like you said, it was just like he didn't know what he was doing. And once he didn't know what he was doing, and once he was in it, it's very hard to, because we come in here, we go, no, we got another game. You were like, the only way this is going to end and get better is when all these Europa League games stop. Then maybe we can take a breath and I'll take a little bit of time and get it sorted, which eventually, that's what basically happened. That's what turned the season around, really. But that doesn't mean he shouldn't have been sacked, because he just didn't have a plan. And as I say, not getting that striker was the main thing. There are other things, but I think we could have just scraped by with those other things.
The left back thing was, for me,
it was
not registering Gar, but letting Connolly go out the door, letting Robinson go out the door. You know, he kept saying left-sided centre back who can play left back, and the centre forward. That's what we want. He ended up trying to get Vermaelen in on loan at the last day, and it was just like, this has all of a sudden become like a mess when the goalkeeper, centre forward, cover for your left back, and a centre back were the absolute musts at the start of that summer, and they should have been in June. Goalkeeper was in, one centre back come in not too late, but your centre forward and cover at left back didn't come in.
I also think he made a mess of the pre-season as well, and the pre-season was an absolute disgrace. Pre-seasons are a massive bugbear for me. Anyone who watches this knows.
Really?
Pre-seasons are where you get your shit done, right? It's where you bed your players in, right? Right, you can do that. I'm also a big advocate that we have to use it properly commercially, and I'm a big advocate that you can do both, because guess what? All the top clubs in the world do it every year, right? And if you do it correctly, you can use both. So Moyes, obviously he took teams to the States and didn't even play games, and then did play games, and all whatever games were secondary out of it. But he took them to a camp and worked with the best people and got them fit, and then played some games, and played games in a small space of time. He also played games in this country where he had one team playing one game and the other at exactly the same. I remember we played Bury and Port Vale on the same day at the same time. Squad split, everyone played, everyone worked hard, everyone got fit, everyone got used to the system at exactly the same time, so no one was left out, no one was getting half an hour here and half an hour there. And yet we went and played a game in Africa, which of course we had to. But why didn't we play 2 games in Africa? Why did we just go and play 1 game? We were there for a week. Or whatever it was. Why didn't we play 2? Even if one was on a smaller scale or whatever. It shouldn't have been on a smaller scale. It should have been 1 game on. I can't even remember what day we played, but it should have been like 1 game on
Tuesday,
it should have been 1 game on the Tuesday and 1 game on the Thursday, and straight home, and that's what it should have been. So just go over there and play 1 game, farcical as far as I'm concerned. Then we went to Holland and played a game on a Wednesday night on an AstroTurf on Waverley Tech on the Mestri. No, but it looked like it was an Astro the way it was done. No, it was like a basic pitch, wasn't it? I mean, it was all great and everything. It wasn't anyone's ground or anything. But we should have been there. Then we played on the Saturday in Holland. We should have played a game on the Wednesday, a game on the Thursday, 2 different teams, worked the bollocks off them, and everyone got at least like 70 minutes, right? And on the Saturday we should have done exactly the same thing. We should have played again, like in his first year when we
played Saturday, Sunday.
Like in the first year when we played in Germany, we played on the Friday night and on the Saturday lunchtime, and everyone just everyone worked hard and worked the bollocks off. And no, it was all like softly. So when we came to the first game against Rosenberg, we played and we looked awful, and then the week after we looked awful, and then obviously we played the split, and then we played Seville, but we went into the season undercooked. And I know you can say those 4 games were like would be like friendly games, but they weren't like friendly games. You've got to be ready for the games that are put ahead of you, and I just thought we got that completely wrong.
Yeah,
not even for fitness though, Baz, for integrating players.
It was difficult because of the games, but that doesn't mean you can't manage it. Other teams have done it, other teams do it. But you're right, there was opportunities to play another couple of extra games by just working the players, and we didn't. I don't think it's any good to anyone playing an hour. No. Keep playing an hour, because when it comes to 90 minutes, you're knackered. Regardless of it, and it was like you say, that most players should have played 70 minutes on the Wednesday. Then we should have had a game on the Thursday, so everyone who come on for 20 minutes should have played 70 minutes on the Thursday, 75 minutes, and then you can bring a few subs on, or give some 90 minutes, 90 minutes one day, whatever.
Or Tuesday, Thursday, and then on the Saturday.
Whatever it may be, the game should have been there. They should have been. They tried to extend it. It's difficult. I suppose it's difficult trying to. The Genk game was in a stadium and all of that. But 20, we could have probably played them twice, 2 days running, really, or Tuesday and Thursday. It wouldn't have mattered who you play in the opposition. It doesn't matter. It's a game, and you've got the chance to work your squad. And I think the pre-season, remember when Martinez's one was poor, the second season it was undercooked and everything was sluggish and it was a slow start, and we threw games away in the last 10 minutes the first 2 weeks. Then Chelsea was so fit, they blew us off the water, and then things like that. So the pre-season it's vital. It was made difficult because of the Europa League, but you have to be able to cope with that, because what happens if we get in it again? You've got to be able to cope with it, however that may be. There was too many got a game Thursday, losing better, and then there's nothing happening until we play them away next week, and you're like, what's wrong with playing a game Monday?
Yeah.
For the 15 lads that didn't play.
Yeah.
Why aren't they playing games? Players like Luckman who weren't playing, but lads who hadn't yet gone out on loan. You can make a team. Everyone would want to play Everton. Well, real. Someone like that want to play. They play the kids, they'll play. Doesn't matter, you're getting games or whatever, and I just think it builds everything up. But yeah, pre-season wasn't great, and that played into when we played against good sides. They were just, because like City had played United.
But that's the thing. These other clubs are going to pre-seasons in like the likes of the States. Liverpool are playing. I think Liverpool playing? They're playing City, I think, and this summer, and they're playing like in
Chelsea, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're playing in America, or some teams are playing in like in Asia, and the temperatures are and they're playing like every couple of days for a week, in hot conditions, and they're going through, and they come out of it playing top sides, and they come out of it being fresh and ready to go for the new season, and fit and straight into it, because they know you've got to be at it from the start, and we're like just trundling along, and for me, I look at Martinez's first season after a really good pre-season in the States, playing good opposition in testing conditions.
But saying that though, the first 3 games under him were all draws, and we didn't really play. We played really well at Norwich, but West Brom at home wasn't great. Cardiff away he wasn't great.
But they were all, I'll give you that.
Fitness wise, I think what Moyes used to do well was they'd play like Accrington Stanley and Preston, and they'd have a lot of games. So I remember when we went to Australia and that, we'd had 8 pre-season games, 8. Beckford had scored all kinds of goals. We thought we were getting 50 goals. But we'd had just a lot of games, and that lot of games meant every player was near enough 90 minutes ready. So whatever team Moyes picked were ready to go. Now, it doesn't. Don't forget, it takes 4 weeks even in the season before players are at where they should be. No matter how fit you are, that first game of the season's not how you've envisaged the game, because you think of your team and it's up and running and fully fit. It has that period when the game lulls and stuff. It's just the way the Premier League is. It's the way the season is. But you want to give yourself the best chance to get in that first game ready to go, so that you can get any advantage you can. And I don't think we did that.
No, I don't think we did. I don't think we helped ourselves whatsoever. No. It might have been the fact of with the Europa League, getting caught up in the Europa League, and
I suppose it's organisation as well. It's easy for us to go, we should have played there and there, but we didn't know whether we were in the Europa League or not for the second leg, so we're trying to build that in. But I'm sure there would have been even
but
League
for me,
Wales teams who would have played.
But for me, anything up to that first game, it should have been better. It just didn't. It just seemed.
You know what, mate? There's nothing wrong with playing against someone like Real, for argument's sake, and winning 8-1 or 8-0, and your strikers getting a couple of goals, because it's the rhythm. It's the rhythm.
For me,
I'm scoring.
Fitness. What is not necessarily the thing. It was about getting players just on the same pitch and getting them into a way of playing. How do you? I know they train every day.
The same,
but it's not the same. If you've got to implement it against people who don't know what you're going to do. If you're training on someone, and the other, if it's like the first level, second level, everyone knows what system's being played. You go up against a team who don't know, and you're trying to implement a thing. Then suddenly it's like, oh, this isn't working. What do we do? Or whatever. This is working, or whatever. Or bring him on. It might work better, or whatever. You don't know, and I just don't think we did that enough, or again planning.
Yeah, but that's what happens, isn't it? Because there's players who come in and you go, we've got to give them a few games, let them settle. But he's training with them lads every day, so why has he got to settle? Because he's got to get used to how the team plays and how he can work whatever skills he's got and his role in the team against the opposition who don't know. That's what it's all about. Otherwise, no player would ever need to bed in as long as they've been training with you, would they? They just go in and play their game, and it doesn't work. Football doesn't work like that. So
it's levels as well, isn't it? You go in and you train every day with certain players, and you're like, oh, this is great, and you go up against better players, and you're like, oh God, actually I've got to take it up a level. I'm not, and you can say that for players. I mean, obviously one of the big problems is, final subject. One of the big problems was obviously having Rooney, Klassen, and eventually Sigurdsson and not knowing, again, planning, not knowing how these players were going to fit into a system, or not sticking with a system that you. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of going, well, this is not working, throw it out the window, instead of going, no, we'll leave it to bedding.
Yeah, I don't think he knew where, because when Rooney's press conference, he said he's going to play him as a striker, didn't he? Then he didn't really play him as a striker. And I know Wayne doesn't help. He played at Old Trafford on his own up front. He played really well for an hour. But in general, Wayne drops too deep and you know, you can play him with another striker and say to him, stay up as much as you can. But he naturally will drop off because he wants to play the game, wants to be involved in the game. So you didn't really know what to do with him. Gylfi come in and hadn't trained, or had trained but hadn't done anything else because we'd asked about. And Davy Klaassen wasn't up to speed. He should have been used off the bench with half an hour to go, 25 minutes to go, whatever. Get on, get about, see what it's like. Come on when the game's slowing down a bit, when players have done 65, 70 minutes, so the pace is slightly slower.
We've talked before about mixing it up. See, for me, Davy Klaassen should have been a player who should have played every Europa League game in his favourite position. For me,
just to get used to,
and then be brought into the Premier League gradually. I mean, of course, you all want your new shiny players to play, but if it's,
you're giving them a chance,
you know, Tom Davies has just come off the back of a good season, and he suddenly finds himself out the team. So you're interrupting two players there instead of saying to one, well, you keep doing what you're doing, and you get used to the Premier League.
Well, you should be keeping players who you can hang your hat on. So you could hang your hat on Tom Davies at the end of the season, coming into this season, go, well, the kid plays well. You know, we hadn't played right back in Rosenberg and was excellent there. So it's like, I know he can do me a job. Davy Klaassen, good player, but he's not probably up to speed yet. It'll be a bit difficult, you know, so we'll integrate him, give him League Cup games. You know, we had Sunderland at home and stuff like that. We'll play him in that full 90. We'll play him in the Europa League, like you said, and then last 20 in Premier League games. And that way you're introducing him so that he's up, he knows the level he's got to get to, and putting him in a position where he plays. If he's not playing off the front man, play him one of your centre midfield players and go, this is what it's like in England, you've got to work hard, because I don't think he's afraid to work hard. No. And he come on at West Ham at half time the other week, the last game of the season. Thought he'd done alright. Thought he didn't look out of place.
I think ultimately the problem might have been there's just too many players to integrate.
Yeah, of course.
I think that ultimately might have been
without having that set plan in place, because if you haven't got a set idea, how can you choose what players?
That's what I'm saying. It was too random. It was too all over the place. There wasn't. You can have a plan for all. You need a plan when you're making so many changes.
Yeah.
And there's so much change to your team. You need a plan. And as I say, that for a club with an experienced manager, with a director of football, with intelligent people around, to not have a plan was just bizarre. Unbelievable. Bizarre. I mean, you would think the owner, chief executive, director of football, manager would sit down before the beginning of the season.
Well, that's what you'd think.
And say, well, what do we want to do? We want to buy these players, right? Well, how are you going to use them? You know, when the fixture list comes in and you've got the fixtures, and you know when you're playing the Europa League games, whatever, or best case scenario if you get into this, how are you going to use these players? Well, this is what we're going to do. The Europa League, whatever happens, we're going to try and put a team out that we think is good enough to win, to get us out the group. Not win every game, get us out the group.
Yeah.
And the league games, the Premier League games, yes, it's a difficult start, and yes, like Farid said, there'll be some we know we need to win, and some that, I'm not saying they're acceptable losses, but are games where you go, well, we mightn't get 3 points there, but we need to just keep playing the team and stop reacting to everything that's going on around us and just keep on the path.
Well, you can only control what you do, so if you're reacting to everything else, you can't control those circumstances. All you can control is your team, and if your team amasses enough points or wins enough games, then ultimately you're successful. Where you start worrying about everything around you, It's like when you look at the league in September and October and you start getting jittery, you go, and then by April it's totally different and you're in a totally different position. You go, why was I worried there? Or the way we thought they were going to do that
Still worried in November. But
no, but I'm saying to you, ultimately now when you look at it, we were 8th and we were nowhere near going down.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, let us know your thoughts. Where did you think it went wrong this season for Everton? Let us know your thoughts in the comments to anything we've just spoke about. Look out for more videos regarding the season. We'll see you later.